Frustration and overwhelm comes from a lack of strategy to hit your long-term health and performance goals. So I'm going to run you through the coaching process that I take people through to make sure that they hit their goals and sustain them long-term, not needing to work with another coach again. Business leaders that come and join my program all have this in common. Their physical and mental health has become a limiting factor in them experiencing life fully. First limitation is usually confidence. There's a lack of body confidence because they're not at the weight they want to be, or because they don't have the physical health that they want, it means that they tend to lack confidence in themselves because they know they're not doing the things they should be doing. Energy levels day to day, both inside business and outside of business, aren't at 100%, meaning they don't feel like they have enough energy to actually get to the goals that they want in business. And especially when they come home with their family, they don't feel like they've got the energy that they need to give their family their full attention. But their main concern tends to be centered around their long-term health. They worry that things are going to start cropping up, or potentially at doctor's appointments, things are cropping up that's going to affect their ability to be there for their family long-term and also operate on the level that they want to in business long-term as well. And the real thing that all business leaders want in life is happiness, but happiness actually exists on a spectrum. And it goes all the way from unhappy in all situations, all the way to being at peace or happy despite the situation. Because often a lot of business leaders feel like their happiness is going to come from external situations. And we've all been there when we get that external thing and you just sit there and think, after a little bit of happiness, maybe a day, maybe a month or a couple of months, you think, is that it? So the real goal is to be at happy or at peace despite the situation in the external world. So what's the answer to this? The mission that I have as a coach, and the mission that everybody takes on board with joining my coaching program, is to achieve physical and mental self-mastery to elevate their level of consciousness, improving yourself first and then helping others do the same. And I know what you're thinking, what is an elevated level of consciousness? Let me break it down. It's essentially improving physical health and brain function to achieve that happiness or peace. This can sound a little bit abstract, so I want to just quickly show you some of the actual changes that occur in the brain, and they're not just limited to these changes only, but here are a couple of the key ones that neuroscience shows us that happens when you reach this state. And when these changes actually happen in your brain, that's when you get the change in your external world as well. So feel free to pause and just have a quick read of these. I go through these in depth on the course called Mastering Your Mind. And here are the parts of the brain that increase in activity. Now, a big argument that a lot of people always bring to me is that can't possibly happen for me. I've always been like this. It's why I'm so good in business, and I have these certain quirks that make me the way I am, and I'm never going to be able to change this. But the truth is, science again proves this is wrong. Yes, genetics determines where you start, but it certainly does not determine where you can end up, because of how you can now take on board education, a process, and actually pattern this over time through a process called neuroplasticity, which is basically your brain just firing and rewiring connections for you to behave in a new way. And when that happens, the power comes back to you. You're no longer dependent on the external world. But to get there, you need a process. And I'm going to run you through the coaching process that I take people through for you to actually achieve this. I'm going to break it down very simply. And this process that I've got here is broken down into the modules that I have in my education platform, alongside the coaching I deliver alongside this, to get you to this end goal of long-term health and optimal performance specific to you and your life. First thing you need to do is mastering your nutrition. You need to be eating in a way that fuels your health, but is also enjoyable. And you're only going to do that through educating yourself and building the skills you need around nutrition to make those changes for the long term, not just sticking to a short-term diet plan. You then need to master your physical health, both inside the gym and outside of the gym. You need to know exactly what you should be doing to move you towards peak physical health and performance for the long run. And again, it needs to be constructed in a way that's enjoyable and sustainable for you. It then comes on to mastering long-term change, which is understanding the science of behavior change and habit formation, because realistically, You can't rely on willpower. You've tried to do that before, it doesn't work. You need to understand the science that drives these long-term habit changes so you can implement them in your life to make it easier for you. And finally, mastering your mind is probably the most important thing, because unless you get this right, your mind is always going to create obstacles for you to get to where you actually want to be in life. So what happens when you do achieve this? Elevated level of consciousness. As I said, it sounds abstract, but when you break it down, it's increased self-awareness and decision-making ability, because you have far more conscious control over the things that you're doing. You get clarity of mind, which relates to that inner state of peace that everybody feels. Emotional regulation, so you're not reactive with your emotions, you can actually see past them and then consciously act in a way that's aligned to your goals. You get an increased sense of empathy, because when you understand the patterns that exist in you, you start to see them in other people and you feel far less reactive to them. And ultimately that translates to life fulfillment. And I absolutely love this quote. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted to profoundly sick society. If the people around you do not have the life that you want and you mirror their behaviour, do not be surprised when you get the same results as them. So this is what happens inside your brain, and then this is what happens in reality. You get improved confidence, so you're not held back in social situations, feeling like you're not good enough or feeling like you're not fully experiencing those social situations to the full because of how you feel inside. You have the energy that you need both inside business and with your family, so you feel like you're operating at 100% with both. Then take control of your long-term health so you don't have any long-term health worries moving forward. And because of the way you go through this process, you then understand everything you need, so you don't need to work with another coach again, and you can manage this all long-term, leading you to experience life fully. And if we want to break it down even further, you make more money and you feel more fulfilled in life. Because if you're operating at your peak, you'll know that you make more money as a result of that. And if you've got all of this in place, you're going to enjoy life to the full as opposed to feeling limited. And how do I actually help you achieve this? I give you a plan so you know exactly what to focus on at all times when it comes to your physical health, nutrition, and mindset. It's literally a paint by numbers system for you to follow. I then give you the education that you need to make sure that the changes you make with me are permanent for the rest of your life, because you understand the process and you understand how to do it by yourself. Throughout this whole process, I give you accountability to make sure that I'm holding you to a standard higher than you could hold yourself to, with personalised targets from your needs analysis. And then the final thing is support, because realistically you'll know that things will go wrong, they won't always go to plan, but you'll only ever be a message or a coaching call away from getting the answer you need to continue making progress on your goals. I'm literally there step by step with you, guiding you down that path to make sure you get to where you want to be. And now all the business leaders that I work with always say, George, I simply don't have enough time for this, which is exactly why I deliver it in this way. It's called an evidence-based approach, doing the least amount of work consistently to get you to where you want to be day by day and week by week. So we're not having to add too much extra time onto things. And I do this through using the relevant science, my expert knowledge from the last 9 years of coaching and my master's degree and time spent working with elite athletes and all the rest of it that you'll see on my page. And then consistently monitoring your data to make everything completely tailored to you in your life. So as I said, you're never doing any more work than you need, just the right amount to keep moving you to where you need to be. I'm going to show you what this all looks like on the apps on your phone. Feel free to pause and just have a look through. So this is what the coaching apps looks like on your home screen, the education platform, the fitness and health app, and the communication app. All the data gets run through to the app so I can coach you consistently with everything you need to do for physical health and nutrition, and it gets constantly changed, adapted to you in your life. Everything's so easy for you to record. It's no extra time onto your week, along with endless nutrition that I coach you through to make sure you make these permanent changes. So it's far healthier for you, but also very, very enjoyable. There's literally endless recipes. And the education platform, again, is tailored to your needs analysis. So you're not doing extra education that you don't need to do. It's completely tailored to where you're at your journey. And that's where I'm there to guide you through the process during our coaching calls. And one of the final things that I want to cover is, how does coaching work to change the way you think and behave Now, I've worked with psychologists during my time boxing, and I was kind of always questioning, well, how are you going to change how I think and then behave? But this is the actual process that I take people through to do that. The first thing that I do is help you understand yourself and the science behind reaching your long-term health and performance goals. I do that through both the education platform and the coaching calls that I deliver. Then through the education platform and the coaching, I help you overcome limiting beliefs and the constraints that are holding you back from consistently taking the right actions for the goals that you want. And this happens through increasing your awareness to help recognize unhelpful behaviors and stick to new ones, by also following the plan that I put in place and then consistently adapting it to meet the demands of your ever-changing life, both in business and with your family and friends. And that can really only occur through using this evidence-based approach. And then it's about finally getting to a place where you repeat this until it becomes second nature, creating a new way of living. You become unconsciously competent, so you don't even have to think about doing it anymore because you've gone through the process and it's just a new way of life for you. So the real question is, what are you going to do next? And I just wanted to finish with two final quotes: that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. It really comes down to changing the way you think and then ultimately behave. And that investing in yourself and in your health is the best investment you can ever possibly make, because everything else in life comes from that. And just to finish off with the scientific articles that I use to put this process together. As you can probably see from this extensive process, from my background, I am certainly not an online personal trainer. That is absolutely not what I do. I'm a health and performance coach for business leaders who gets business leaders to where they want to be for the long run, not needing to work with another coach again.